Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. Today's analysis may be a little bit ridiculous. We'll be taking a look at 5 short clips of elite singers performing with orchestra songs from South Park. So these will very likely be offensive. It is South Park after all, so you've been warned. And they may or may not contain good singing. A lot of the singing in South Park, after all, is purposefully bad, but it's going to be fun to find out. So, let's get to it.
I'm going down to South Park, gonna have myself a time. Friendly faces everywhere, humble folks without temptation. Going down to South Park, gonna leave my woes behind. Ample parking day or night, people shouting howdy neighbor. Heading on up to South Park, gonna see if I can unwind. I love girls with big fat titties, I love girls with deep vaginas. Come on down to South Park and meet some friends of mine.
Wait a second. Okay. So this is the South Park. It's like a theme song from that. And part of it, Kenny is mumbling in, and I feel like we might have just gotten a translation from that in the middle, which is hilarious. Also, the way that this is sung, it's very monotone and almost sounds rappy from the original characters. And all of a sudden we actually have very good voices here singing these lines and telling me that all of these lines actually had a definitive pitch, which the original characters probably just kind of glazed over. It was kind of monotone for the most part. And then, yeah, I guess there was kind of some pitch. Anyhow, back to the beginning.
I'm going down to South Park, gonna have myself a time. Friendly faces everywhere, humble folks without temptation. Going down to South Park, gonna leave my woes behind. Ample parking day or night, people shouting howdy neighbor. Heading on up to South Park, gonna see if I can unwind. I love girls with big fat titties, I love girls with deep vaginas. Come on down to South Park and meet some friends of mine.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna go back one more time. Watch their mouth movement. I'm actually very surprised. This is much more of a Broadway style of singing. So the mouth movement is very, very pronounced. We are getting those words out there like crazy. I think that's very important and it's a much more forward kind of placement than what you'd expect from a classical singer, which would be much, much further back. Wow, and the orchestra is really good.
I'm going down to South Park, gonna have myself a time. Friendly faces everywhere, humble folks without temptation. Going down to South Park, gonna leave my woes behind. Ample parking day or night, people shouting howdy neighbor. Heading on up to South Park, gonna see if I can unwind.
Wow.
I love girls with big fat titties, I love girls with deep vaginas. Come on down to South Park
Serious.
and meet some friends of mine.
I love the delivery of it and the way they're totally straight-faced, very serious. It feels like it's a very, very serious presentation indeed. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Well, Kyle's was a bitch, she's a big fat bitch, she's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a stupid bitch, if there ever was a bitch, she's a bitch to all the boys and girls. On Monday she's a bitch, on Tuesday she's a bitch, on Wednesday to Saturday she's a bitch. Then on Sunday, just to be different, she's a super inca mea mea mea. Have you ever met my friend Pat's mom? She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a mean old bitch and she has super there. She's a bitch, 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 bitch. She's a stupid bitch. Woo! Kyle's mom's a bitch, and she's such a dirty bitch. Bitch. Kyle's mom is a
This has brilliant shock value. I will say the ending and the way they've sort of shifted their vocal position, you hear more loft come into the sound, and then it gets that more classical feeling, and they bring a lot more vibrato into it as well. When they're singing a lot of the fast words, they tend to narrow it down. We're going for clarity and clarity of text and delivery in the fast parts. So they tend to be a lot more focused in here as well. Kind of a little bit similar to Gilbert and Sullivan, actually. Whoa. There's some other really interesting things in here I'm going to have to go back and talk about.
Well, how's was a bitch? She's a big fat bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a stupid bitch. If there ever was a bitch, she's a bitch to all the boys and girls. On Monday she's a bitch. On Tuesday she's a bitch. On Wednesday to Saturday she's a bitch. Then on Sunday, just to be different, she's a super inca mea mea biatch. Have you ever met my friend Paz Mom? She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a mean old bitch and she has super there. She's a bitch, 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 bitch. She's a stupid bitch. Woo! Carl's mom's a bitch and she's such a dirty bitch. Bitch. Carl's mom is a bitch.
Okay. Vocal technique wise, notice that when they're singing a little more classical style, we also have a little more opening in the mouth. And as the soprano at the end, as she goes up to the high note, her mouth actually opens up more. This is a little bit of vowel modification. It's very common when sopranos go higher for acoustic and functional reasons. Essentially, you need to drop the jaw a little bit more, open the mouth a little bit more. So she does exactly that as she slides to the high note. Another thing to talk about is that in the word bitch, you have to get through a vowel and a lot of consonants there. And I really admire each of them for how they're able to get that pitch in on I, but still get that ch out each time, because that takes a little bit of extra time to say. So they're able to create a lot of clarity of what pitches they're singing. They're being very, very precise, but their mouth has to work really, really hard to get that ch out after every single one and not have that disturb the pitch that just happened before. One more time.
Well, how's was a bitch? She's a big fat bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a stupid bitch. If there ever was a bitch, she's a bitch to all the boys and girls.
Excellent diction.
On Monday she's a bitch. On Tuesday she's a bitch. On Wednesday to Saturday she's a bitch.
By the way, this, I believe, is all sung by Cartman in the show. So it's kind of cool that they've mixed around the voices here. It's I feel it's also a lot for one person to sing the whole thing just straight through in one take. They could do it. These singers could do it. But it is fun to get a slightly different take from each singer. Okay, one more time from the beginning.
Well, how's was a bitch? She's a big fat bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a stupid bitch. If there ever was a bitch, she's a bitch to all the boys and girls. On Monday she's a bitch. On Tuesday she's a bitch. On Wednesday to Saturday she's a bitch. Then on Sunday, just to be different, she's a super inca mea mea biatch. Have you ever met my friend Paz Mom? She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a mean old bitch and she has super there. She's a bitch, 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 bitch. She's a stupid bitch. Woo!
Listen, soprano line in that is very nice and very precise.
Have you ever met my friend Paz Mom? She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a mean old bitch and she has super there. She's a bitch, 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 bitch.
Here we go.
Bitch, 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 bitch. She's a stupid bitch. Woo! Carl's mom's a bitch and she's such a dirty bitch. Bitch. Carl's mom is a bitch.
There you go, vowel modification. Woo!
South Park, the
That's
25th
fun.
season premiere.
I've been so lonely, girl, I've been so sad and down. Couldn't understand why haters joked around. I wanted to be free with other creatures like me, and now I got my wish. Cause I know that I'm a gay fish.
Gay fish, gay fish,
yo.
motherfucking gay fish.
I'm a fish, yo.
Going on a gay fish, gay fish.
It's alright, girl.
Making love to other gay
Yeah.
fish.
Gay fish,
Gay fish, gay
Fish, yo.
fish, motherfucking gay fish.
I'm a fish, yo.
Going on a gay fish, gay fish.
It's alright, girls.
Making love to other gay fish. Gay fish.
That ending blow on the French horn is priceless. This song in the original had a lot of, I think I remember it having a lot of extra production and influence in the sound. So this is really fun to hear. And well, I think it had like major over auto tuning done. And so hearing a real organic voice singing it is a totally different experience. Also, I like his attitude and his placement. It's got such a good groove.
I've been so lonely, girl, I've been so sad and down. Couldn't understand why haters joked around. I wanted to be free with other creatures like me, and now I got my wish. cause I know that I'm a gay fish.
Notice when he goes up to his top notes, he's really keeping it quite narrow in the sound. The way it's going very quickly through this area, which is honestly a little uncomfortable for a lot of guys to sing, and it's going to fit high. It's going to sit a little bit in the passaggio and be jumping over it. The passaggio is essentially a zone where vocal registers are transitioning, and it requires more precision, and it requires a lot more attention to the execution, essentially, so that the sound doesn't just splat. And he is very carefully narrowing that sound and keeping it super clear, super forward, so we get all of these words. And he's making it so he can navigate between a bunch of jumps that can be in and out of this kind of fussy area with a little more ease by keeping it narrow.
I've been so lonely, girl, I've been so sad and down. Couldn't understand why haters joked around. I wanted to be free with other creatures like me, and now I got my wish. Cause I know that I'm a gay fish.
Gay fish,
Yo,
motherfucking gay fish.
I'm a fish, yo.
Going on a gay fish,
It's alright, girl.
Making love to other gay fish.
Gay fish,
Gay fish, motherfucking gay fish.
I'm a fish, yo.
Going on a gay fish,
It's alright, girls.
making love to other gay fish. Gay fish.
That's so great. I dig the way that they brought in essentially a chorus behind it as well, and then let him riff and make cool sounds, or have fun interjections there. This was a really, really fun arrangement. I should mention, by the way, the singers that we have here are Nikki Renee Daniels, Tamar Green, Jeff Creedy, and Elizabeth Stanley. I actually don't know which one's which, so I'm just going to give you all 4 names and you can look them up. We'll also credit them in the About section of this video because they're awesome. Let's keep going.
I'm gonna jacket where the sun always shines. Been spreading the word now, I need to ease my mind. Been planting them apple seeds, and while the apples grow, I'm gonna go out jacking it in San Diego. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jacking it. It's gonna be swinging it, jacking it, swinging it, smack. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jacking it. It's gonna be swinging it, jacking it, swinging it, smack.
Sorry. I think that's the end of that one. Lovely, very precise high note again from soprano at the end. The way that they've pulled the videos together are incredible. But the thing that's just getting me the most is the delivery from each of these singers. It is really good comedy. It is so sincere with ridiculous lyrics. The arrangement of it really works. It feels somehow a little vintagey, like something I would hear in Main Street and Disneyland, but maybe not with the same lyrics. Okay, back to the beginning. I like this conductor too.
I'm gonna jacket where the sun always shines. Been spreading the word now, I need to ease my mind.
I should mention, we previously saw fellow on the left singing, and he went really high with his solo times. Now we hear him singing these really low notes, and I feel like, wow, he's got a pretty awesome range, really awesome. And then fellow that's in the middle here, he's got such good face and mouth movement. It's just, his delivery is so on point. Okay, one more time.
I'm gonna jacket where the sun always shines. Been spreading the word now, I need to ease my mind. Been planting them apple seeds, and while the apples grow, I'm gonna go out jacking it in San Diego. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jacking it. It's gonna be swinging it, jacking it, swinging it, smack. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jacking it. It's gonna be swinging it, jacking it,
Wow.
swinging it, smack.
That's such a fast line for him to fit in.
Swinging it, smack. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jacking it.
gonna be smacking it. He's gonna be smacking it. Wow, that's so fast. Wow. Wow, their mouths have to get tired after singing this because they're really doing so very much to get all of these words out. And I'm thinking of the lower male's voice sound in particular. When you have a weightier sound like that, it can be hard to get through it as quickly, but he's keeping it, like I said, he's keeping it forward focused, keeping lots of light articulation, essentially. If you try to have heavy articulation in this case, it's usually going to slow you down. So it needs to be very light, sort of tip of the tongue, flicky with articulation to keep it very agile so you can get these words out. Let's go back just one more time on this one. The articulation is incredible.
I'm gonna jack it where the sun always shines.
He's gonna jack it.
Been spreading the word now, I need to ease my mind. Been planting them apple seeds, and while the apples grow, I'm gonna go out jacking it in San Diego. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jacking it. It's gonna be swinging it, jacking it, swinging it, swinging it. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jacking it. It's gonna be swinging it, jacking it, swinging it, swinging it.
Ridiculous. And for the final clip today, chocolate salty balls.
Say everybody, have you seen my balls? They're big and salty and brown. If you ever need a quick pick me up, just stick my balls in your mouth. Suck on my chocolate salty balls.
Suck on these balls.
Put them in your mouth and suck them.
Suck, suck, suck on these balls.
Suck on my chocolate salty balls. They're
Packed full of goodness.
I get fiber, sucking my balls.
Suck 'em. Go on it. Suck 'em. Suck these balls. Suck 'em.
My balls.
Go on it.
Salty,
Suck 'em.
yeah.
Suck 'em. Suck 'em.
Balls.
The faces of the kids. Perfect. I missed something in this one because some of these are shorter than the original songs were. In this one, I remember that there was essentially a delicious recipe that the chef talked about as he was describing these chocolate salty balls. And, like vanilla, sugar, and adding all of the various things. It was really fun. I want to say I think it was Isaac Hayes that originally sang this one. Really fantastic performance of it too. So I kind of missed that. They did get to the funny punchlines of it right away. And each of these are, 30-second, 45-second snippets. So that makes sense that you get to the punchline. But I kind of wish that this one was, 2 minutes, 3 minutes long so that we get that list of ingredients. So you could think about what if this was actually like a really delicious dessert? Anyhow, one more time.
Say everybody, have you seen my balls? They're big and salty and brown. If you ever need a quick
That
pick
is
me up,
great.
just stick my balls in your mouth. Suck on my chocolate salty balls.
Suck on these balls.
Put them in your mouth and suck them.
Suck, suck, suck on these balls.
Suck on my chocolate salty balls. They're
Packed full of goodness.
I get fiber, sucking my balls.
Suck 'em. Go on it. Suck 'em. Suck these balls. Suck 'em. Go on it. Suck 'em.
A couple things to mention vocally here. He's bringing in a little grit into the sound every now and then. It sounds like probably a rytmanoid engagement that's a little higher up in the vocal tract to create a little kind of Louis Armstrong-esque distortion, that grit, that growl, essentially. And then the backing vocals actually have a really tough line. The backing vocals need to be extremely precise, extremely short as well. They have to essentially pop in and then get out of the way really quickly so that they're not covering the lead line. That kind of singing can be quite difficult, actually. It's more written as instruments in a lot of ways than a vocal line. And this is done quite frequently. It can be some of the more challenging singing and more taxing singing to do because we're not necessarily following normal vocal expression. They're acting more as backing instruments. Speaking of backing instruments, this orchestra is killing it. That's great. Okay, one more time from the beginning.
Say everybody, have you seen my balls? They're big and salty and brown. If you ever need a quick pick me up, just stick my balls in your mouth. Suck on my
that was truly ridiculous. Matt Stone and Trey Parker are geniuses, combining this kind of crass humor with sophisticated performance has just the right edge of humor. And these musicians are good. They did a fantastic job, very technically proficient, on top of fantastic acting skills from everyone. Even the conductor, I feel like, was the center of that acting and showing everybody by his presentation how they should be emoting to the audience. Tons and tons of fun. My one disappointment, though, is that it did not contain Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo. So, Matt, Trey, if you guys are watching this, can you please release that by Christmas time? I'd love to review that on the channel. Otherwise, for all of you who would like to see more analysis of funny and ridiculous things, check out this playlist over here, and I hope to see you soon.